Hello, my name is Rafael Seif, and in this presentation I'm going to deal with an important topic of English grammar, phrasal verbs. We will understand what phrasal verbs are. We'll see some separable and inseparable phrasal verb patterns. We will see the pattern phrasal verb plus preposition plus object, and we will see some phrasal verbs with two particles, and we will finish with the specific meaning of some particles in combination with phrasal verbs. The objectives are to understand what phrasal verbs are and their use, to know the most common phrasal verb patterns, and to understand the meaning of the most common particles. Verbs are often followed by particles that can be adverbs or prepositions, such as back, through, up, with, and many others. And this combination of verb plus particle sometimes have a normal meaning. The normal meaning of this combination, such as in, it took us an hour to go through airport security. But sometimes, very often, they have a different meaning which is not logical from the combination of the two parts. Such as in this example, I want to go through your proposal again, which looks to look at something carefully. In phrasal verbs, there is a special meaning of the verb and the particle of this combination. Often, one phrasal verb may have different meanings, and then the context is very important to know the exact meaning. In deal with, which is one of the most common phrasal verbs in academic contexts, we may have three or more meanings. For example, don't worry, I'll deal with, which means to take action. This department deals mostly with British companies, which means to do business. Or the most common one in an academic context, this report deals with our marketing strategies, which means to be about. We'll start with separable phrasal verb patterns. Sometimes the diverse parts of a phrasal verb can be separated. If it's an object, or if the object is a noun, we can put it before or after the particle, it doesn't matter. The applicant should fill this form in, or the applicant should fill in this form. But if the object is a pronoun, such as me, them, etc., it must be placed before the particle, always. Could you fill it in, please? Here we have a list of the most common separable phrasal verbs. You have the meaning. Back up, bring in, call off, check out, drop off, figure out, fill in or out, find out, give up, hand in, head up, hold up, keep down, look up, pick up, point out, set up, shut down, sort out, take on, take over, throw away, turn down, or turn on or off. You have the meaning here. You should be familiar with these phrasal verbs because they are extremely common. We also have inseparable phrasal verb patterns. Sometimes we can separate the two parts of the phrasal verb, and here we have a list of the most common ones. The ones in red here mean that the verbs do not have objects. Break down, call on, check in, come across, consist of, and deal with, two of the most common ones in academic contexts. Do without, end up, enter into, get into, go into, hold on, take after, look into, look through, pay off, take up, take off, turn out, or turn up. Sometimes we have a combination of phrasal verb plus preposition plus object. Some phrasal verbs can be used either alone or followed by another preposition, an extra preposition. For example, if there are no questions, shall we move on its own? Or in this other example, I will move on to the next item in our discussion. Here we have a list of the most common combinations, together with the most common meaning. Carry on with, catch up with, cut back or down on, get on with, get through to, keep up with, move on to, put something back of to until, put someone through to, or run out. As you can see, the flexibility in the combination is very big. Some phrasal verbs, on the other hand, have two particles and both must be used. Usually these particles are not separated, but sometimes we may separate them, such as in this example. She puts her success down to hard work. Here is a list of the most common ones. Come in for, come up with, face up to, fall back on, get back to, get round to, go along with, or put up with. Here we have two examples. She always came in for much of the blame, or I should be able to get around to that job soon. Particles associated with phrasal verbs normally have a range of meaning, which makes it possible to organize the meaning of the particles and the particles themselves in different categories, depending on the meaning. For example, here we have different categories with the meaning and the most common particles. For increasing and decreasing meanings, we have up, can you speak up? Out, the company is branching out, meaning speeding out. Down, the world needs to cut down on waste. Also, some of them are related to meanings with communication. Across and through are the most common ones. This is the message I want to get across. Or I called you yesterday, but I couldn't get through. Some of the meanings are related to the exploring and revealing information, such as into. The engineer didn't go into details about the failure. Out. We need to find out, to discover what happened with the machine. Or up. I want to bring up the issue of extra costs. Some of them are related to checking and reviewing, such as over or through. If you didn't understand, I can go over that again. Or through. Can you look through? This is related to checking and reviewing information or details. Also, some of them are related to time, past and future time, such as back, ahead, or forward, logically. Let's go back to what you said. We must think ahead to what may happen next year. I look forward to the arrival of this new technology, etc. Some of them are related to the meaning of progress, such as ahead. They are present ahead with the reforms, along. The infrastructure work is coming along nicely. On, he just kept on until the repair work was completed. Through, there is still a lot of work to get through. Or behind, I have fallen behind with my work. Sometimes they are related to the involvement in an activity, such as in, when there is enough budget, the new engineer can join in. Into, the company is trying to break into the automobile market. Away, I've been slaving away in the kitchen. Or out, the firm has pulled out of that market. Preventing problems is also another typical meaning. In around, we will work around the problem of the valve. Aside, we must put aside the differences between the engineers, or off, keep off the confined area. Completeness, up is normally the most common one. The whole paper is clogged up with dirt. Or ending. Away, the ice just melted away. The two companies broke off negotiations. Out, we've sold out of size 16. Or up, he has broken up with his girlfriend. Some others are related to relationships, such as together. We should get together. Or up, the two clients will meet up next week. Happiness and unhappiness, such as up and down. Cheer up, or cool weather was getting me down. In conclusion, phrasal verbs, which are very important in English, are combinations of verb plus particles that can have specific meanings and specific structures or patterns. Phrasal verbs are also a fundamental aspect of the language that are very usual and that must be understood by students and learners. It is also convenient to know some common meaning of the most usual particles associated with phrasal verbs. Thank you very much for your attention.